What happens when a beloved television host challenges one of Hollywood's most recognizable stars about fame, responsibility, and the price of success? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. Whoopi, welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is an actor you know from one of the biggest television series of all time, and now he's starring in a new stage production and opening up about life after global fame. Please welcome Kit Harington. Audience, applause. Kit, thank you. Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. Sunny, it's good to have you back. Joy, last time you were here, you looked a little less relaxed. Kit, that's because last time I had a newborn at home and hadn't slept in about 6 months. Audience, laughter. Whoopi, well, that's called being a parent. Kit, I've learned that now. Alyssa, you've spoken openly over the years about adjusting to life after Game of Thrones and dealing with the pressure that came with that level of fame. Kit, yeah, I think it's important to talk honestly about it. When something becomes that big, people see the success, but they don't always see the personal impact. It changes your life in ways you can't prepare for. Sire, was it difficult to step away from a character people identified you with for nearly a decade? Kit, very difficult. I loved playing Jon Snow, but there comes a point where you have to figure out who you are without the costume, without the scripts, without everyone expecting you to be the same person forever. Whoopi, you know, here's where I struggle sometimes. Kit, okay. Whoopi, I hear actors talk about the burden of fame, and part of me thinks, well, you wanted this job. Audience, murmurs. Whoopi, hear me out. There are people watching right now who work 2 jobs, who are trying to pay rent, who don't have the luxury of stepping away when things get hard. Kit, absolutely. Whoopi, so when celebrities talk about how difficult fame is, some folks hear that and think, really? That's your problem. Audience, applause. Kit, I understand that reaction completely. Joy, that's a fair point. Kit, it is. And I would never compare my struggles to someone working multiple jobs or raising a family under financial pressure. Sunny, but mental health challenges don't disappear because someone's successful. Kit, exactly. It's not a competition over who has it worse. Whoopi, no, but there is a disconnect sometimes. Kit, there can be, and I think actors are responsible for acknowledging that. I know how fortunate I am. Truly. But gratitude and struggle can exist at the same time. Audience, applause. Whoopi, explain that. Kit, well, imagine achieving something you've worked toward your entire life, and suddenly millions of people feel entitled to your identity. They think they know you because they know a character you played. Sire, that's got to be strange. Kit, it can be isolating. You're expected to be available emotionally all the time. Every interview, every appearance, every social media post, it becomes part of the conversation. Whoopi, but isn't that part of the deal now? Kit, some of it is. Absolutely. But I don't think anyone fully understands the scale of it until they are living it. Joy, social media changed everything. Kit, completely. There was a time when actors could leave work and go home. Now, you're accessible 24 hours a day. Whoopi, you don't have to read comments. Kit, you're right. But it isn't just comments. It's headlines, speculation, assumptions. People build versions of you in their minds. Sunny, and once people think they know you, they feel ownership over your choices. Kit, exactly. Whoopi, but here's another question. Why talk about it publicly? Why not just deal with it privately? Kit pauses for a moment. Kit, because staying silent didn't help me. The audience grows quiet. Kit, there was a period in my life when I thought I had to keep everything inside because I was afraid people would say exactly what you just said, that I was privileged, that I had no right to struggle. Whoopi, I'm not saying you don't have the right. Kit, I know. But many people hear these conversations and think suffering only counts if it looks a certain way. Audience, applause. Sunny, that's an important point. Whoopi, I agree with that. But public figures also influence people. So when you speak about your experiences, you have to understand how it lands. Kit, absolutely. And that's why I try to be careful. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for understanding. Joy, there's a difference. Kit, I think so. Whoopi leans back in her chair, studying him carefully. Whoopi, so let me ask you this. Do you think celebrities sometimes overshare? Audience, laughter. Kit smiles. Kit, sometimes. Definitely. Audience, laughter and applause. Kit, but I also think we've spent decades telling people to speak openly about mental health. We can't celebrate honesty from some people and dismiss it from others because they happen to be successful. The audience applauds louder this time. Whoopi, fair enough. Sire, that's probably the most honest answer you could give. Whoopi, we're just getting started. Because I want to talk more about this idea of responsibility and whether public figures owe audiences more than honesty. Kit, I'm happy to have that conversation. Whoopi, good. Because we're going to have it right after the break. Audience, applause. Audience, applause as the show returns from commercial break. Whoopi, we're back with Kit Harington, and before the break, we were talking about fame, mental health, and what public figures are the people who support their careers. Kit, the easy answer would be everything. But I don't think that's realistic. Joy, so where's the line? Kit, I think audiences deserve honesty about the work. They deserve gratitude. But I don't think they own every part of your personal life. Sunny, yet fans feel invested because they've spent years supporting your projects. Kit, and I'm genuinely thankful for that. I wouldn't have a career without them. But appreciation shouldn't mean unlimited access. Audience, applause. Whoopi, here's where I push back a little. People connect with actors because they see themselves in the characters. They buy tickets, subscriptions, merchandise. They create these communities around your work. Kit, absolutely. Whoopi, so when celebrities suddenly say, I need privacy, some viewers feel shut out. Kit, I understand that. But fans connect with the work we've created, not necessarily the person they imagine behind it. Joy, the problem is, people don't always separate the two. Kit, exactly. And I made that mistake myself early on. I thought if I gave more interviews, shared more stories, and always made myself available, I'd have more control over the narrative. And did it work? Kit, not at all. Audience, laughter. Kit, the more you share, the more people feel entitled to know even more. Sunny, that's true for everyone online now, not just celebrities. Whoopi, but you chose an industry that's built on public attention. Kit, I chose acting because I love storytelling. I didn't choose strangers debating my personal life every day. Audience, applause. Whoopi, but can you separate those things anymore? Kit, maybe not completely. But I think we should at least question whether we've normalized unhealthy expectations. Alyssa, what kind of expectations? Kit, that people should always be available. That they should respond to every rumor. That silence automatically means guilt or arrogance. Sunny, that's a good point. Whoopi, you know, when I started in this business, you could leave work at work. Joy, there was no social media. Whoopi, exactly. If people wanted to criticize you, they had to write a letter. Audience, laughter. Kit, and now criticism reaches you instantly, everywhere. Whoopi, but there's also another side to this. Public figures have enormous influence. Your words carry weight. Kit, I agree. Whoopi, so when celebrities talk about burnout or mental health, some people wonder if they are recognizing the privilege that comes with their platform. Kit, that's fair. I think privilege and vulnerability can exist at the same time. Sunny, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Kit, right. Having resources doesn't automatically protect you from anxiety, depression, or pressure. Whoopi, no, but resources do help. Kit, they do. And I would never deny that. I had access to support that many people don't have, and I'm grateful for it. Audience, applause. Joy, that's an important distinction. Kit, but if someone with resources is afraid to speak honestly, imagine how hard it is for someone without them. The audience grows quiet again. That's powerful. Whoopi nods slowly. Whoopi, okay, I hear you. But let me ask something tougher. Kit, go ahead. Whoopi, do you think Hollywood sometimes romanticizes struggle? Audience, murmurs. Kit, yes. I think it can. Whoopi, explain that. Kit, there's this idea that pain makes you a better artist. That if you're struggling, you should channel it into your work instead of seeking help. Sunny, we've heard that from musicians, actors, writers. Kit, and it's dangerous because it tells people their suffering has value only if it's productive. Audience, applause. Whoopi, that's a strong statement. Kit, it's something I had to learn personally. Joy, was there a moment when you realized that? Kit takes a breath before answering. Kit, there was a point where I understood that continuing to pretend everything was fine wasn't helping anyone. Not my family, not my work, not myself. Was it difficult to admit that publicly? Kit, extremely difficult. Whoopi, because you thought people would judge you. Kit, because I knew some people would. The audience reacts with quiet understanding. Kit, and honestly, conversations like this are part of the reason why. Not because anyone here is being unfair, but because these questions reflect what a lot of viewers are thinking at home. Whoopi, that's our job. Kit, I know. And I respect that. Whoopi, and I respect that you're answering directly. Audience, applause. Sunny, I think people appreciate seeing disagreement that doesn't turn into shouting. Joy, give us a few minutes. Audience, laughter. Whoopi smiles. Whoopi, don't tempt me, Joy. Kit laughs. Kit, I'm trying my best here. Whoopi, well, I have one more question that might make things a little uncomfortable. Audience, ooze. Whoopi, because this isn't just about fame. It's about accountability. And after the break, we're going to talk about whether celebrities have a responsibility to be role models, even when they never asked for that job. Audience, applause. Audience, applause as the show returns from another commercial break. Whoopi, we're back with Kit Harington, and we're talking about something that always sparks debate. Whether celebrities have a responsibility to be role models. Joy, which, by the way, is a job nobody applies for. Audience, laughter. Kit, exactly. Whoopi, but it comes with the territory, doesn't it? Whether you ask for it or not, millions of people watch what you do, especially younger audiences. Kit, I think influence and responsibility are real. I just don't think they're the same thing. Sunny, explain that. Kit, influence is something that happens because of visibility. Responsibility is what you choose to do with that visibility. Audience, applause. Whoopi, okay, but if you know people are looking up to you, shouldn't you hold yourself to a higher standard? Kit, I try to. I think most people do. But I worry when we expect public figures to be perfect instead of human. Sire, that's a tough balance. Kit, it is. Because the moment you make a mistake, people often act like you've failed some unwritten contract. Joy, welcome to the internet. Audience, laughter. Kit, exactly. Whoopi, but some mistakes deserve criticism. Kit, absolutely. Accountability matters. Whoopi, so where's the line between accountability and public shaming? Kit, intent matters. Growth matters. Context matters. Sunny, that's true for everyone, not just celebrities. Kit, right. We all want room to learn and change. But public figures often have to do that in front of millions of people. Whoopi, and some people would say that's the price of fame. Kit, I hear that argument a lot. Whoopi, because it is a privilege. Kit, it is a privilege. But I don't think privilege means you stop being a person. Audience, applause. Whoopi leans forward. Whoopi, nobody's saying you stop being a person. Kit, I know. But sometimes public conversations make it feel like empathy has conditions attached to it. The audience quiets. Kit, it's almost as if people say, you can struggle, but only if you struggle the right way. You can make mistakes, but only if they're mistakes we understand. Sunny, that's a really interesting point. Whoopi, but audiences are tired, too. Kit, I understand that. Whoopi, people are overwhelmed. They are dealing with real problems every day. So when they see wealthy, successful people asking for understanding, it can be hard to relate. Kit, and that's fair. I'm not asking anyone to compare their life to mine. Whoopi, then what are you asking for? Kit pauses for a moment. Kit, the same thing we'd ask for anyone else. Basic compassion. Audience, applause. Joy, that's not unreasonable. Whoopi, no, it's not. Kit, we don't have to agree with every celebrity. We don't have to admire them. But we can remember there's a person behind the headlines. Sa, do you think social media makes that harder? Kit, definitely. It turns people into brands. Once someone becomes a brand, it's easier to forget they're human. Sunny, that's true across every industry now. Whoopi, but you also benefit from being a brand. Kit, I do. And I recognize that. But benefiting from a system doesn't mean you can't criticize its worst parts. Audience, applause. Whoopi nods slowly. Whoopi, fair point. Joy, you know, I think audiences want authenticity, but when they get it, they don't always know what to do with it. Audience, laughter. Kit, that's exactly it. Whoopi, let me ask you something personal. Kit, okay. Whoopi, if you could go back to the beginning of your career, knowing everything you know now, would you still choose this life? The audience murmurs. Kit smiles thoughtfully. Kit, yes. Audience, applause. Kit, without hesitation. Whoopi, even with all the pressure. Kit, even with all of it. I love acting. I love storytelling. I love connecting with people through characters. Sunny, but you would change some things. Kit, definitely. Whoopi, like what? Kit, I would ask for help sooner. I would stop pretending I had everything figured out. And I would spend less time worrying about meeting everyone's expectations. Audience, applause. Whoopi, that's something a lot of people can relate to. Kit, I hope so. Whoopi, because whether you're an actor, a teacher, a parent, or someone working 2 jobs, everyone feels pressure to be who other people expect them to be. Kit, exactly. Whoopi smiles. Whoopi, see, now we're getting somewhere. Audience, applause and laughter. Kit, we made it. Joy, barely. Audience, laughter. Whoopi, don't relax yet. Kit, oh no. Whoopi, because after the break, we're going to talk about the reaction this conversation is already getting online. Sunny, people have opinions. Joy, shocking. Audience, laughter. Whoopi, and we'll ask whether these conversations actually change public attitudes, or if everyone just goes back to arguing in the comments. Audience, applause. Audience, applause as the show returns for the final segment. Whoopi, we're back with Kit Harington, and apparently the internet has been very busy during our commercial break. Sunny, very busy. Joy, which means we're all doomed. Audience, laughter. Saya, our producers have been tracking reactions online, and people are definitely split on this conversation. Whoopi, some viewers agree with Kit that mental health conversations shouldn't come with conditions. Others feel celebrities still need to recognize how their experiences sound to people facing financial hardship. Kit, honestly, both perspectives make sense to me. Audience, murmurs of agreement. Sunny, that's probably why this discussion resonates. There isn't a simple answer. Kit, there really isn't. Saya, one comment says, success doesn't cancel out personal struggles. Another says, privilege doesn't mean your problems disappear, but it does change the conversation. Whoopi, I think that's exactly where we landed today. Kit, I think so too. Whoopi, you know, people assume disagreement has to mean hostility. Kit, and it doesn't. Whoopi, we challenged each other, but that's what conversations are supposed to do. Audience, applause. Kit, I appreciated it, honestly. Joy, that's because nobody threw a coffee mug. Audience, laughter. Sunny, yet. Audience, laughter and applause. Whoopi turns to Kit. Whoopi, I respect the fact that you didn't get defensive. Kit, I won't pretend it was easy. Whoopi, I know. Kit, but these conversations matter because they reflect what's happening outside this studio. People are trying to figure out how to hold empathy and accountability at the same time. Sunny, that's the challenge. Kit, and I don't think we've solved it today, but maybe we've made a little progress. Audience, applause. Whoopi, that's all you can ask for. Saya, what's next for you? Kit, I'm focusing on projects that excite me, spending time with my family, and trying to keep things in perspective. Joy, so no dragons? Kit, never say never. Audience, laughter and applause. Whoopi, Kit Harington, everybody. Audience, standing ovation. Kit, thank you all. This was great. Whoopi, we appreciate you being here. As Kit waves to the audience and heads backstage, the hosts continue talking briefly before the show cuts to its final moments. Sunny, you know, social media is going to debate this all day. Joy, for at least 24 hours until everyone finds something new to argue about. Audience, laughter. Whoopi, that's true. But I hope people take away one thing. Listening doesn't mean agreeing. It means being willing to hear someone else's perspective. Audience, applause. The show ends, but the conversation keeps growing online. Clips of Kit explaining that gratitude and struggle can exist at the same time quickly spread across social media platforms. Some viewers praise him for speaking honestly about the pressures of fame, while others argue that celebrities need to be more aware of their privilege when discussing personal challenges. Entertainment outlets pick up the story within hours, highlighting the respectful but tense exchange between Kit and Whoopi. Fans share clips of the moment Kit said, "I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for understanding," while others applaud Whoopi for asking the difficult questions many viewers were thinking. By the end of the day, hashtags related to the interview trend across social media, with audiences debating whether public figures should be expected to serve as role models or simply be allowed to exist as imperfect people. Behind the scenes, sources close to the show say both Kit and the hosts thanked each other after the cameras stopped rolling. There were no hard feelings, just a meaningful conversation that continued long after the broadcast ended. What did you think about this debate? Was Kit right to defend his perspective? Or did Whoopi raise the more important point about privilege and responsibility? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.